up, y'all? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. And you know that we are here to discuss real life topics to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. Now, I go around this magnificent planet of ours trying to find the best humans on here so they can come on here and help us grow in the way that we think and the way that we live our life. And I found a gem for you. Her name is Dr. Dawn Karima, and she is a prominent speaker, educator, author, podcaster, artist, and consultant. And she's a two-time Global Music Award winner, a Native American Music Award winner, and an Indigenous Artist Activist Award winner. So, hello, good human on the planet. And here she is. Thank you so much for being here, Dawn. I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us.
Mado, thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you for making a wonderful place to celebrate goodness.
Yes. Oh, I love celebrating goodness. Some good stuff. I like really talking about, just things in life and things that are challenging us, but how we can overcome those challenges because I just think God is great and big and bigger than our issues, bigger than our problems. And so I bring people on here that is going to help inspire us and grow us. So Dr. Dawn, I love to start with the question about who are you? And I'm pretty sure you've gotten this question before. So who are you, Dr. Dawn?
Oh, wow. Well, I am so thankful and grateful to be a love letter to people. I truly, deeply believe that God gives every person, just every person in the whole wide world, something to do, some talent, some gift, some personality trait, something that shows the world through them how good God is and how much God loves the world.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so I see my calling to love God and love people, to be a love letter that simply says, you are loved, you are cherished, you are valued. And sometimes that love letter looks like a song that I sing. Maybe it's the podcast, Conversations with Dawn Karima. Maybe it's the books I've written. I've got a brand new one, Mother of Nations, out now.
Nice.
And maybe it's the conversation I have with someone, just my time and theirs. But it could be the art, it could be the culture, it could be anything that God has given me that He can use as a message that says to everyone, you are loved.
Mm. That's really, really beautiful. And and as you're speaking, I'm thinking because my brain is always on this very curious, curious standpoint. I'm always looking at life and trying to see what beauty there is and also the challenges there is and how we can, overcome these challenges. And I believe that God is definitely about love and loving us. And so I'm going to ask you maybe more of a philosophical question, if you will.
Oh,
So, why do you think that most, or not most, that's not the right word, but why do you think that some people take what could be theirs as a love and a love affair with God, or love affair with life, and um, go a different direction? Maybe not spread the love in the world. Maybe they're spreading more hate or more, you know, um, negativity, or does my question make sense?
love is a decision. My granddaddy used to say that love has arms and legs.
I love
And
that.
so love is a verb, it's an action word.
Yeah, yeah,
And so I think so often we have great love, the capacity for great love within us.
yeah.
And we are all made to love and be loved. But there are counterfeits.
Mm,
There are counterfeits. People may feel accepted for being negative or part of a negative group, and that they think feels like love, but they have no idea how that would really compare to the love of God.
right.
So often I think we're settling. We're settling for so much less than what God has for us. He wants
Mhm,
us to be
mhm.
loved, and He wants us to be loved, and He wants us to love others, and He wants to love on us. And we are settling for just feeling like one of the guys, or fitting in at
Mhm,
work,
mhm,
or
mhm,
trying to
mhm.
participate in a certain political party, or trying to be part of a certain kind of thinking on social media. When in
That's so
reality,
good. That's true.
God has so much more for us that outshines anything else.
That's really a fantastic answer and very true, isn't it? I think we all like spend, we have decisions to make daily, right? Decisions to get up that day with gratitude, decisions to get up with treating people with honor and dignity and respect the way you want to be treated. And that is true. That is it's a very good answer, because I love that love has arms and legs. Isn't that beautiful? That's so
Absolutely.
beautiful, because that means that the arms and legs move. That means you can go and really spread what is love, right? So that's fantastic. So do you feel like that's really your message to the world, just spreading this love and joy through everything that you do? Because I know you do a lot of music, and you're author. I know you spoke about that in the beginning. Is that what you're called to do? Do you think that's something you've been called to do since you were young, or something you found through adversity, or where did that come from?
I absolutely believe that love is my superpower. We all have one.
Yeah, yeah.
That just happens to be mine. And so it comes in different forms, right? Sometimes it is musical, sometimes it is the written word, sometimes it's a spoken word, sometimes it's just presence.
Mm,
But I truly feel that that's my calling. And I have felt that way all of my life. You
oh,
know,
that's
um,
beautiful.
I started in the arts as a child and started performing, started writing, being published as a little girl. And so I have always felt that these things were gifts from God. You know, there are talents. There are talents. People have talents and they perfect them and they practice and they work on them, and that's wonderful. And then there are just gifts.
Yeah.
God gives gifts. And that could be anything from the way that you look to something in your personality that helps you open doors and achieve goals. It could be, and I always have felt that the the voice God gave me, the words God gives me, the abilities God has given me, that is all a gift.
Mhm,
And the
mhm.
wonderful thing about a gift is it makes you grateful. I mean, I don't know. I hope none of us are so ungrateful that when someone gives us a gift, we're rude and hateful about it. But the one
Right.
thing that happens with almost every gift, good gift, is that you feel grateful. You know that the person didn't have to do it. They didn't have to do it, but they did. They thought of you. They cared about you. And that's how my gifts feel to me. How wonderful,
Mm,
how marvelous that God loved me enough to give me these gifts that then I
mhm.
can share with other people and help them on their journey. And
Right.
gratitude is the only attitude worth having.
I love that. It's so
Uh,
true.
yeah.
My whole life changed when my attitude became gratitude. That's an
Mhm.
absolute truth.
Yeah.
As you're speaking and about your beautiful gift, I thought about this testimony I saw many, many years ago, where this piano player, I don't know if you've heard it, but this piano player was a phenomenal piano player. And he said, "What would it feel like, God, if I didn't have your gifting, your grace?"
Mm.
And he walked out to the stage for this big concert he was having, and literally could not lift his arms to play.
Oh,
Literally could not lift his arms to play. And he said, I sat there in awe. And then he realized God was giving him the answer to the
yeah.
question he just asked. And I thought that was so powerful, because then he said he repented and said, Lord, I would never want to live without your gift,
That's right.
without your love for me. And like he said he was on stage for quite some time. And then he finally, when he prayed that, was able to go ahead and start playing. And he said, never again will he question God about what it would feel like without his gift. And I think, Dawn, that we should live our lives like that, like
Hmm.
getting up every day realizing we have a gift. And
Yeah,
even if that gift is breathing, you have been
that's right.
gifted with breath, and not everybody was today. Some people went home to be with the Lord or have left the planet. And I feel like we should be grateful even for that, or not even for, because that's a huge thing, but
Yeah.
even for like the breathing, the seeing, the walking, the fact that me and you are having a phenomenal conversation. Like, these things are important to me, right? I always think about the person I'm speaking to at that moment is so important to me because we're not
Hmm.
promised tomorrow. I'm
That's
not
right.
even promised next week or later, right? So tell
Hmm.
me, Dr. Dawn, how do you get through tough times? How do you get through the times when maybe you don't feel so loving, right? Because we're human. So you're going to go through times where you're maybe, hit with something a little bit difficult to manage or handle or something hurtful that's been done to you. So what's your realm of dealing with that? How do you deal with that?
Well, my granddaddy used to say, if your faith don't work, try faithfulness. And sometimes, if you depend on feelings, oh my goodness, your life is going to be
Mhm.
very chaotic. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I
Mhm.
feel like eating this whole chocolate cake. I feel like going, I don't feel like going here. I feel like doing this instead. I mean, feelings, you could end up with a
Yeah.
very interesting
Yeah.
life when your feelings. Now,
Yes.
God gave us our feelings. He wants us to feel. He wants us to enjoy this life. He wants us to feel. He does. But He wants all of that to be submitted to Him.
Right.
And
Right.
one of the best ways to do that is faithfulness. See, sometimes it's just a matter of, I said I would, so I will.
Mhm. Mhm.
Sometimes it's no more spiritual than this needs to be done.
Mm.
I don't know. If you wait till you feel like washing dishes, what will your kitchen look like?
Right.
you know?
A
And but
hot mess in my case.
but faithfulness says,
Right.
I'm going to wash these dishes because they need washing.
Right. Right. Right.
And then the reward for that, believe it or not, a lot of times a faithful man will abound with blessings. So
Mhm. Mhm.
half of my success in my life, honestly, has been because I showed up. I was in the right place at
That.
the right time. I had a right heart about things. So many times I didn't go to be on the program at a conference. I just went to sit in the back and learn from people. And
Mhm.
someone spotted me and said, "Oh, look who's here. Come up and or we missing a speaker. Can you fill in?" So many opportunities have come to me because
Wonderful.
I was in the room. But whether it felt like it or not, faithfulness is really, oh, it's a hidden gem. And
Mm.
if people always ask me, like, what person should I hire? Who should I marry? What should I do? And my answer is faithful ones. Because
That's good.
you can teach skills. You can send somebody to continuing ed and figure it out from there. But if they're faithful,
Right.
oh my
Right.
goodness. What
Right.
people should you be friends with? The people who call you back. The people who
Right.
right? The people who remember your birthday, the people who
That's
love you, the
good.
people who
That's
care about
good.
you. Let's stop chasing unavailable people and let's start being grateful for the faithful, steadfast people. And faithfulness isn't perfect.
Mm.
Sometimes you show up and maybe there are 10 people who would do this better than you would, but they didn't come. They didn't feel like it. So you're there and you do the very best you can, and God puts His super on your natural.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Right.
then amazing things happen, divine connections, divine favor. And I feel like there are people too who faithfulness is so underrated.
Mm.
And we need to remember that humility comes before honor. So
Mm.
sometimes faithfulness means you don't play first string in the game. Sometimes faithfulness means you keep coming if they never call your name to sing a solo
Mhm.
in the
Mhm.
choir.
Mhm.
Sometimes faithfulness, people may never recognize and celebrate what you do,
Mhm.
but God has a book of remembrance. And
I
he
love that.
he knows exactly when you had a willing heart. He knows when you came when you didn't feel like it. He knows when you stayed up late and went, or got up early. He knows. And he
That's
may
good.
not settle up every Friday night, but he does settle up. And so a faithful man abounds with blessing.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. Let me ask you this. How do you stay in that realm of faithfulness and humbleness with all of the amazing opportunities and awards that you've gotten in your life? Um, how do you check yourself? I guess is the question, right? Because we
Mhm.
always have to do that. I think we always have to do that, right? When you're someone who is like you and has these global award winning things in your life, and you're an author and a speaker and all these beautiful things happening to you. So how do you check you? How do you know to keep yourself humble?
I know me. I
Right.
mean, I know
Right.
myself. I
Right.
know that I can't even walk without God holding my hand. I
Mhm, mhm.
know that if I can't even read music. And so the fact that songs that I've written and projects that I sing on are winning awards, that has to be God,
Yeah.
you know? And I love the idea. It's not so much that we're supposed to have false humility where people say, "Oh,
Right.
I'm terrible. I have no talent at all." We know you do. Stop it. You do.
Right.
But
Right.
what helps me a great deal is to give every accomplishment back to God.
Mhm.
You know, thank God for this award.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
not, and never think of it as mine. Think of it as God sharing something with me, allowing me to partner with Him to
That's
create
good.
something that people really like. And here's the thing, without Him, right? I mean, without
Mhm.
Him, we can do
Mhm.
nothing.
That's it.
Apart from Him, we can do nothing.
That's
And
it.
so I think that helps a great deal. It's just, I mean, I am just absolutely amazed that people like what I do.
Mhm.
Because basically I follow God around and he makes me look way better than I actually am and
Right.
sound better. And, I wrote it down and, he gave it to me. I wrote it down and people were like, this is marvelous. And I'm like, what? Wow, really? Okay, great.
Mhm.
Great. Good. And I know where it all comes from.
Mhm.
I don't have the luxury of thinking, I got this. Thank you, Lord. Appreciate it. I got it from here. No,
Yeah.
I do not have it from here. I don't-
That's
I just,
good. That's good. Because we're human, right? And I think we have to keep ourselves in that place where we understand where it's coming from and who our source really, really is. And the reason I say that is because I have, had people that I've encountered in the past who were one way when I first met them and completely transformed as they've gotten success in their life. And I don't think it's on purpose. I think it's just slowly happens and you don't even realize that it's happening to you, right? Where you're no longer humble, but you're a little bit more prideful, you're more rude, you're more short, and you're just like, wow, that's so not you, or wasn't you. There's a saying, I forget how it goes completely, but they're like, rich people aren't mean, it's just that the money exposed the way they were already in their heart. And I'm like, that's interesting, right? And as we start to grow in our lives and become a little bit more financially wealthy and whatever, we have to keep ourselves in check, especially when we're children of God. So I'm glad you do that. I'm glad you said that. And I'm also really grateful that my listeners are listening to that it is really key from what I'm getting from what you're saying, that you realize that you're partnering with God,
yes.
that it's not just you doing something, or God coming down here to do it for you, but that you are partnering with God. And that's super powerful. Is that what you when you're doing your music and your book? Because I was reading a little bit about your book being about self-help, right?
I do
Um,
have a self-help book.
yeah,
This
yeah.
new one is my first poetry book. I have two novels
Oh,
out, The Way We Make Sense and The Marriage of Saints. And then this is my newest book, Mother of Nations, and it's poetry. And then I do have a self-help book about what to do if you don't know what to do. And
right.
so I've had a lot of fun with those
Wonderful.
things. Yeah.
So the new book is your art in that form, in poetry form.
Yes. Hmm.
Oh, how wonderful. Was that like releasing to you? I'm sure that was really beautiful for you to write.
I enjoyed it so much for so many reasons. My previous books, The Marriage of Saints, is part of the American Indian Studies series at the University of Oklahoma. My
Wow.
first novel, The Way We Make Sense, was a Native American First Book Award honoree, one of the runners up. And so I have enjoyed writing fiction, and I've had very good critical success for my fiction, and I appreciate that. But this book, Mother of Nations, which comes from Uttered Chaos Press, is you can find it on Amazon or you can go directly to the press. But it is different because many of these poems came to me fully formed. I dreamed them, woke up, wrote them down.
Wow.
Many of them then became song lyrics as well. And I think about this particular project really passionately because I was praying and asking God to give me a family. And doctors told us that I would probably never have any children.
Mm.
And I threw myself into helping to raise my nephews and foster mom and team mom for sports. And I had birthday parties and get togethers. And I was the cool aunt, right? And
Right.
all that. But deep down inside, what I really wanted was my family, my dream of being a mother. We're matrilineal, and matriarchs are very important in our culture. And I wanted to join the matriarchs. I would see them process in their beautiful regalia at stomp dance and ceremonies, and I would see them, the grandmothers and the mothers. They sit
Mhm.
like queens, and it was like so far away. I had everything else, degrees and awards and accolades and all kinds of things, but not the one thing I really wanted them.
Right. Right.
And so I wrote this book as a prayer. I was at our New Year, which is called Green Corn, and one of our great elders called me aside and changed my name, changed my name,
Mm.
traditional name, and to Mother of Nations. And for several years, I went around, and whenever somebody asked me at our cultural events what my name was, I had to say Mother of Nations, and I was no one's mother at all.
Oh, I love it.
And I wrote this book as a prayer. I wrote these poems. What would I say if I was someone's mother? What would I want to tell them about our culture and traditions? If I
Wow.
when I had a family, how would I want them to remember me? And these poems began to come to me, some of them fully formed in dreams. Some of them would just be inspired. I'd be sitting in the pew at church and all of a sudden have to scribble it on the back of the bulletin because it was coming so fast and I knew how it should go. And long story short, of course it has a happy ending. Uh, a book, and we have a beautiful baby boy. He's a toddler
Oh,
now. And
I
God
love
honored us and He blessed us. But
it.
this was absolutely
Congratulations.
a prayer. This is absolutely a prayer. This was just, oh, okay, cry my eyes out in the car. Let me write this poem down. Oh,
Oh.
let me praise and worship time during church. Let me write this poem down. Woke up, it's 4 a.m. The light is streaming through the window. Write this poem down. And so, um, this book is really precious to me because I mean, I dedicated it to a child I didn't have yet.
Right.
I wrote it, even put myself as someone's mother. Keith Jim of the Navajo Nation drew me as someone's mother on the cover with sons. And I didn't have any at that point.
You're giving me chills. I got my hairs all standing up. It's so
And so God gave us a fantastic he's a toddler now, but he's a fantastic child. And I don't usually discuss my family publicly because they didn't volunteer to be in the public eye.
beautiful. Right, of course, of course.
But I wanted to share that testimony about why this book is so precious to
Yeah.
me. Because
Yeah.
every time it was a monument. It was a monument. I believe it. I believe it so much that I put it out there. A book called Mother of Nations. I know you're gonna answer me, Lord. I know that you're gonna make me a mother. I know you're gonna give me a family. Someday I'm gonna be a grandmother. And
Mhm, mhm,
everyone who ever sees this book is going to see that God answers prayers.
mhm,
That God does say yes, even when doctors say no. God does absolutely want to grant us the desires of our hearts, the good desires that He put there. And
mhm.
so I hope that everyone who reads this book will think this is a lovely book and I really enjoy it. But most of all, they will know that we have a creator, a faithful creator who loves us so much
Mhm.
that He will do miracles. He will
He loves.
shower blessings. He will do whatever it takes in your particular situation to come and save you.
Mhm, mhm.
And when people say that they have a hard time believing for a miracle, I had to have one, and I have one. Every time I get called mama, it is the best thing in the whole wide world. I mean, absolutely. But
Yeah.
if you need a miracle right now in your business, in your home, in your family, I think we have a myth of scarcity. We have a myth that God is hard to get along
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
with. We got to twist his arm. We should probably crawl on some broken glass. We ought to probably starve and fast and pray. And you should do these things. You should not crawl on broken glass. You
I
should
got you.
pray. You should pray.
Right,
We want you to
right.
fast. We want you to, but God's not hard to get along with. The
No,
very thing
always does.
you want most, the desire of your heart, guess who wants that for you?
Yeah.
And
I do
so
believe
I
that.
really want your friend, our friends who are listening us today, that if you need a miracle, you're already qualified.
Mhm. Mhm. You
You're
know,
already
yeah, that's so beautiful, Dawn. It also makes me, want to say something that, God put in my heart a long time ago too, is that sometimes just because the answer is no, like say he does say no, it's not because it's against you, it's actually for you. And
Mhm.
instead of people saying, "Oh, well, I've been praying for it, it never happened." Well, why don't you thank God because he knows exactly why he does what he does. He's
Mhm.
just a good God. My husband in 2002, talk about miracles. They gave him a year to live for a tumor in his brain. It was
Oh,
inoperable. And we
mhm.
prayed on it and prayed on it and prayed on it. And I just trusted God. I just did. There was no option. It was God and God alone. And it's now 2022 and he's still here. So, and the tumor's completely gone and erased and they can't even find it. So, 20 years,
Amen.
and in a year after this happened to him, the doctor didn't know what to say, right? Because they only give him a year to live. So miracles do happen. And a lot of times I think we think of life, these things that happen in our lives, this is the miracle, but the miracle of life is a miracle. And
Right.
having that relationship with a God that, died for you is a miracle.
It is.
And so I think all of it is just so beautiful, Dawn. And I love that you're spreading these beautiful words through your music, through your book. Congratulations on your baby boy. I'm so excited for you. That's amazing. Boys are the
Thank you.
best. I have three of them.
Oh,
And,
goodness.
I think, you're doing amazing and important work. And just being out here inspiring people the way you are and knowing that God has your back is going to inspire someone listening to this
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Because I know that there's a lot of people struggling with a lot of things right now. And
Mhm.
Dawn, Dawn, from what I'm getting of your message is
Mhm.
love God, trust God, and know
Mhm.
that He's working with
Mhm.
you. He's working with you, not against you. Right?
Mhm.
So good.
One of the things I think happens so often in our lives is we become disappointed
Yeah.
because we don't know what a miracle looks like.
Right.
We don't know that it all is part of the miracle.
Right.
And sometimes the very thing that we think is the devastating, most awful, terrible thing that's happening to us, there are miracles folded into that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the greatest miracle is that God is with you and He is for you.
Mm-hmm.
Even when it looks good, even when it doesn't. I just released a new single recently, and it's nominated for the Rampage Music Awards and was nominated for the Fair Play Country Music Awards. God on
Nice.
the Mountain, the old Southern gospel classic.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find it. It's out everywhere. iHeart, Apple Music. We even have a YouTube video. But this song is such a timely song for so many of us because the God of the good times is still God in the bad times.
Mm-hmm.
When things go wrong, He'll make them right. The God of the mountain is still God in the valley, and the God of the day is still God in the night.
I love it.
And I feel that so often we don't know what a miracle really looks like. I wonder if so many times we are disappointed and think that we
Mhm,
aren't
mhm.
receiving miracles in our life because we don't recognize them. One of the
Yes.
great prayers that God taught me to pray was, Lord, don't let me miss my miracle because I don't like or recognize the package in which it comes.
So good. Girl, you know what that is? That's this, isn't it? You'll walk off the stage right now. Just
Right.
interview's done.
Thank you so
That
much,
is
my first. Yes,
so
thank you.
good.
And I thank the Lord
So
for
good.
that. And the second great prayer that He taught me to pray along with that is this: no matter what heartbreak or disappointment and tragedy comes, please don't let me fall out with you, Lord.
Mm,
Don't let me get mad and
mm,
stay mad and let
mm,
go of you,
mm.
Lord, because you're the only one that can help me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
So
so often
good.
in those horrible, tragic times, I've had to say, okay, I don't understand it, nor do I like it, but please hold on to me. Please
Yes.
don't let me fall out with you because you're the only hope I have.
Mm-hmm,
You're the
mm-hmm.
only way I'm going to make
Oh, I so love you. I love you so much. And I
it.
love this conversation. I love everything about you, Dawn. You have a fan. I am definitely a fan.
Oh,
And I know that, people who are listening, it is just been such a phenomenal conversation. And it's one of those conversations that I carry in my heart because
mhm.
I know that what you're doing out there is impacting people in a beautiful way. And when you have God at the forefront of anything, it is
Yes,
going to be a
yes.
phenomenal thing for humans. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here on the
Thank you.
show. And
Adele.
I know that you're out in the mountains somewhere, and so the internet can be cray cray. But I'm really, really thankful and grateful for you, Dawn. And I really want you to tell my audience where they can follow you, where they can, support you, buy your music, buy your books, things like that, please.
Mado, thank you so much for having me and having this conversation with me. How wonderful that you are in this world doing these great things and you
Thank
will
you.
succeed in them all. To our friends who are listening, oh, I would love it if you would listen to my podcast, Conversations with Dawn Karima. We're on Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, talktainmentradio.com, and we air on revelationradio.net on
Nice.
Thursdays at 11 Central Time. And I'm sorry, 11 Eastern Time, 10 Central. And we absolutely love to hear from you. So please listen to the podcast. The music is everywhere there is music. The Desire of Nations is my Native American Music Award winning project, and it also won a Global Music Award. The Stars of Heaven. Oh my goodness, you'll love it. Global Music Award winner and Indigenous Music Award nominee. We have social media, Dawn Karima and Wells of Victory Inc. That's our Facebook fan page. I'm on
Hmm.
Twitter as Mother of Nations, Dawn Karima. Dawn Karima on Instagram. We love to hear from you
I love
and
it.
blessed by you. So, it would be such an honor. The book, the brand new book, all of the things that we do, the profits go to charity to help us do more things.
Hmm.
So anytime that you support what I'm doing, it helps me to do more and help more people. The new book is called Mother of Nations. It's from Uttered Chaos Press. You can get it off Amazon, and it's also available at utteredchaos.org. And I am just thrilled anytime that someone likes what I do and supports me as I do it. And so that's why it's such an honor to be here with you today. And I appreciate your trust in bringing me to this platform and to our friends who follow you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh man, guys, I know you're in love, right? I know. I know. So just make sure that you follow Dr. Dawn Karima. I'm going to make sure to link all of her information below so that you can follow her and support her, listen to her music. Because right after we're done with our little interview here, I'm going to go. I'm going to do all of that.
Oh,
All
how
right. Because
wonderful.
I want more of you. I want more of you, Dr. Karima. So
So
I will
sweet.
I'll be making that happen. So thank you for being here, and thank you guys for
Thank you.
listening and supporting and watching and sharing. You guys are an amazing audience, and I really truly love you. So make sure that you do all of that. I will make sure that link everything below, and I cannot wait to hear what you think. Thank you guys for being here. This is Neena Perez, Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. Until next time.